Restored to the greatest name of Allah, who is the most merciful and kind. Hello friends, I am Mansoor and Mangi from Sindh University campus Larkano from the BSCS department 2K70 page. So in this lecture we will discuss about the compiler construction. What is compiler construction, why we use compiler construction, and what compiler do, and what is the interpreter and the assembler and its features. So last one is the Moore machine and the MEALY machine. So first of all we discuss about the what is the programming language translator. A translator program language that convert a computer program from the language to the another language. It takes a program written as a source code to the convert into the machine code. Means it decoded the identify the error of debugging translator. The purpose of translator is to translate high-level programming language into the machine language programming that the central process unit can be understand. It is also detects error in the programming system. Means into the machine language all the process unit can be understand the all that detects errors in the programming system. So here is the different types of translator. There are three types of translators as we follow as the compiler, second one is the interpreter, and third one is the assembler. So first we discuss about the what is the compiler. In a computing, a program is a computer that program that translate a computer code written is a one programming language into the another language. The same compiler primarily used to program that translates source code from high-level programming language to the low-level programming language to create executable program system. Means a compiler is a translator that used to convert high-level programming language to the low-level programming language. It convert whole program is the one section. It the reports error detect after the conversion. Means a compiler takes time to do work is a translator high level code to the low level code all at once, and we save the memory. A compiler is the process that dependent on the platform on the independent, but it has the address by the special compiler, cross compiler, and the source to source compiler. Before choosing a compiler, the user has to identify the first instruction that can be architected by the whole system. Mean the set architecture, it is the compiler that can be used all the easiness in the compiler system, means that can be used all the performance by the operating system. A special compiler is a user to identify the first instruction that can be set architecture is choosing the whole system of OS and the programming language that will be used in case of the high level language compiler system. Means but it is also addressed by the low level code once at the same of the memory system that can be utilized all the facilities and all the compiler before choosing compiler. So the second one is why we use compiler. Basically compiler is used to translate a compiler that can be programmed to translate computer code written once programming that can be language at the source language into the another language. The target language, the name compiler, is the primary use for the program that translates source code from high-level programming language to the low-level programming language. For example, assembler language, object code, or machine code to create and execute of the programming system. Means all the flexibility which are we use to the in a compiler system. So the third one is the what compiler do. The basic compiler do the performs the pre-process of source code, gather all the files required to the another source code to the pass entry source code. The checks any syntax error in the source code and perform a thorough syntax analyzing of the source code. Means to understand the structure and the semantic of the source code. Officially, translator is a source code that intermediate code know the object to the conversation of the enhanced programming to translate output system of the object code binary language. Know the executable code knows as the enhance of the performance that can be optimized. The source code is an immediately code known as the reactable of the execution of the code translation object in the system between the compiler is a two mostly. So the features of compiler. The first one is the correctness, means it is able to correct all the possibility which fixed in the compiler system or the program system. Speed compilation, it is a more faster to compile all the program which we are user for identifier. Fast to convert, meaning the code, the speed of target code, it fixed to the speed and fixed to recognize all the codes. Legal and illegal program construction, legal and the illegal program construct. Good error reporting, handling, code debugging have to support this compilation. So now is a two-phase compiler. The language processor that goes through the program to be translated twice. On the first phase, it checks the sentence of the statement and the constitution table symbol. Hold the second of phase the actually translate program translation into the machine language. A two-phase means called a multi-phase compiler. This is type of compiler that process source code to the abstract syntax tree of the program multiple times and multiple compilers are divided into the phases of the compiler system. Means it intermediate representation, front and maps legal code, back and the maps error, specify the integrity, allow the multiple font and the multiple phases code better than a single line code. Means the two phases compiler is going to be the multi-phase compiler, as a compiler process source code of the abstract tree of the program multiple times. A multi-phase program divided into the phase as the majority representation and back to the map IR implementation. So three-phase compiler and three-phase compiler is architecture, register allocation, introduction the scheduling topology of the three-phase compiler. Means the three-phase compiler optimization intermediate stages transform the series of the phases, typically transmission role of the runtime system. Means the system code improvement or the optimization and analyzer IR and the rewrite for the translate IR. Primary goals or the reduce running time and of the compiler code may also improve space, power consumption, multi-pass time in the reduce all the three cases between the or stages of the series phase typically. Means the analyzer are the primary goals that reduce running time to the compiler code may also improve space. Power must be the proof on the digital allocation. Institution schedule is the topology of the three phases compiler optimization that can be immediately work on the transmission between all the possibilities and the running time. Compiler code may be also improve space and power. Must provide all the system that can be utilized the system analysis and what we are used in the compiler concession to the three phase compiler. So what is the interpreter? So the first one is the interpreter. Just like a compiler, it's a translator used to convert high-level programming language to the low-level programming language. It converts the program once at a time and report as a dedicated at once hold during the conversation. With this, either to detect error, the compiler and interpreter faster than the compiler immediately execution to the code upon the reading code. It is often to the use debugging system, the tool software development. It is can be executed a single line of the code at time, and the interpreter is also more possible than the compiler. It is not process dependent on the operating system for the between the hardware and the architecture system. So there is some advantages of the interpreter and some disadvantages of interpreter. Means the first we discuss about the advantages of the interpreter. The first advantage of interpreter is like that you discover error before you can compile the program, so you learn from your mistakes. Means the program can be run before it is compiled, so get particular result immediately. This is the first and most useful advantages of the interpreter. And the disadvantages of interpreter, there is a possibility of syntax error on the unverified script. Program is not enhanced to the matter occurs to error. It may slow because of the interpreter is the every execution running time. So we discuss the assembler. An assembler is a translator used to translate assembly language to the machine language. It is like a compiler for the assembler language, but interactive like an interpreter. Means assembler language is difficult to understand, is a low level programming language. Is the assembler translate to the low level programming language assembler that you can all the low level program which are the machine code. The machine code can be easily detected or the understood of the CPU. Means all the language which are the directly low level programming language into the assembler translate that can be language to the machine, and the just like a compiler assembler language that can be utilized all the system, all the possibility that can be understood of the CPU system. And some advise the disadvantages and advantages of the compiler system. So first we discuss about the advantages of the compiler system. The first and main advantages of the assembler is the symbolic program to either understand the one-time saving of the program, and it is either to fix error and after program instruction. Means efficiency of execution just like a machine language. And disadvantages of the assembler means it is a machine dependent, cannot be used to another architecture. A small change design can be invalid to the whole program. It is difficult to the machine system. So last one we is a Moore machine. In the theory of computation, the Moore machine is a finite state machine whose input values are determined only by the current state. This is the concept of the MEALY machine. Is the whole machine is a whose MEALY output value of the determined both by its current state and by the value of the input system. The Moore machine is a name after Edward the Moore, who represent concept in the 1956 propagation of the sequential machine language. Means a Moore machine is a finite state machine. The output value in the output depends on the present state. It can be defined as for was a final state, the initial state, the output alphabet, the input alphabet, translation function which is the math, the output function which is maths. And the last one is a MEALY machine. MEALY machine is the theory of computation. A MEALY machine is a finite state machine that can be current state, the current state, current output, and this currentness to the Moore machine, whose Moore output value is determined solely by the current state. A MEALY machine is a deterministic finite state that can be considered that will be transducer for each state and output that we must on the transition as a possible. Means the MEALY machine is the named after George Has MEALY, who represent the concept of in a 1955 paper a method of serializing. Means the sequentially circuit that it can be defined as where the finite state and the initial state, input alphabet, output alphabet, the translate function which are the given in the output system. Means all Moore machine or the initial state of the alphabet which can be determined all the system of the MEALY machine that can be utilized all the system of the MEALY machine. And here you see the diagram of the Well, machine means one states are the open can be connectly direct with each other, and nodes are internally connect with each other. So guys, thank you so much.